I'm Caroline Collins, and this is Fox 26 Crime Files. We start with a jugging that ended with a victim paralyzed. Here's Natalie He with that woman's story.
This is what Nung Trung's days look like now, relying on machines to help her get in and out of a hospital bed.
Big step. Big. Yes.
And physical therapy every day. A month ago, on February 13th, Houston police say Nung was attacked by a black man in his early 20s. Investigators say Nung had withdrawn money from the Bank of America on Black Hawk Boulevard near the Beltway and was followed by the suspect nearly 24 miles to the 9800 block of Bel Air. Surveillance video shows Nung dropping her belongings on the ground and the man running away with what he thought was an envelope with cash. Then seconds later, the suspect returned, picked Nung up and body slammed her to the ground.
Pain, whole body. Đi lại được cho dễ càng dễ hơn.
I'm feeling very horrible and sad at the same time.
The attack damaged the 44-year-old's spinal cord and left her paralyzed, unable to walk or use the bathroom by herself. Instead, the single mom has to rely on a wheelchair and help from her 3 kids, 13, 15, and 20 years old, all of whom are still in school.
I can still go to school, but my mind is just messed up thinking about her, worrying that nobody's gonna watch out for her.
It's been pretty bad because we have to pay rent and stuff, and she's the only one who can work and help us. So we really don't know what to do.
Her mom, brought to tears by her daughter's injuries and tough life. 7 years ago, Nung lost her husband to liver cancer. After the jugging robbery, doctors say there's only a 50% chance Nung will fully recover.
If a miracle happened, then she can walk again.
A $5,000 reward is now being offered in the charging and arrest of a sexual assault suspect. This is a sketch of the man police say broke into a house and sexually assaulted the victim at gunpoint on Holly Hall Street in late June. Spray paint is turned into messages of hate in Houston's Montrose neighborhood. Here's Fox 26's Matthew Seedorf with what's being done about it.
A disturbing message painted on a power pole in Houston's Montrose neighborhood.
And it feels like it might have been targeted because of this area.
The hate-filled words directed towards the LGBTQ community.
Most of us disagree that hate speech should be out like that, especially violent hate speech that's calling for someone to take an action against a specific group.
Grant Beeler works nearby.
It's better than a blue ink with hate speech.
His office was doing some painting, so he had them cover the ugly message with gray paint, something he took personally.
In middle school in the 90s with a gay dad felt different than now, where it's more accepting, but seeing this sort of stuff just, I don't know.
Whenever it is found in an area which directly impacts the population of that neighborhood, it is an extra cause for concern.
Last month, we reported on racist, anti-Semitic flyers in this Third Ward neighborhood. Both the Anti-Defamation League and FBI noticing rises in hate incidents and crimes. In 2021, almost 65% of victims were targeted based on their race or ethnicity, almost 16% on their sexual orientation, and about 14% targeted for their religious beliefs.
It's alarming because it's been increasing, and I feel terrible for the person or people who had to find this.
The message on a power pole now covered up. Centerpoint Energy telling Grant we do not condone hate speech or violence and appreciate your efforts in painting over this.
We all have a responsibility to do what we can, even if it's just a little bit of paint.
Well, that was Matthew Seedorf reporting. A podcaster states away as the victim in a murder-suicide. The killer trucker was from right here in Houston. Fox 26's Natalie He spoke with the suspect's ex-wife and learned new details about this case.
Well, we spoke to his ex-wife on the phone today. She didn't want to have her face shown on camera or have her voice recorded, but she tells me the two of them were married for 7 years and they even share a daughter together. But she says she never imagined he would be capable of such a horrific act. Court records show Neda Mashabi filed for divorce from 38-year-old Ramin Koda Karam Rezai in 2018. Over the phone, Neda, who works for Harris County, say her and Ramin are originally from Iran and have a 7-year-old daughter together. But the two have no other family in the U.S. Neda said that lack of support led Ramin to begin confiding in her in his romantic relationships after their divorce. In particular, Neda said she remembered his infatuation with 33-year-old Zore Sadeghi, a podcaster he'd met on the social media app Clubhouse and developed a friendship with. Neda said Ramin told her the two were talking on the phone often and had met in person more than once, until one day Sadeghi apparently cut it off. But court documents tell a different story.
This is the absolute worst outcome for a stalking case.
Last Friday, Redmond police in Washington state say Ramin broke into Sadeghi's home, shot her and her husband before turning the gun on himself. In an application for an order of protection filed just 2 weeks before her murder, Sadeghi said Ramin would call her and her husband dozens of times a day, sent gifts, and showed up to their neighborhood several times in hopes of spotting her.
This is a classic case of someone who was stalking someone who became obsessed with someone who had a public personality and then was under the false belief that there was actually some potential for a relationship. And when that wasn't happening, he took the next step. You got to be careful who you engage with to begin with. So I would certainly encourage people not to immediately engage with somebody until you find out who exactly that person is.
His ex-wife also tells us that Ramin had started his own trucking business. The address for that business came back to these apartments here behind me in Memorial City. We attempted to reach out to anyone who may have known him, but all of them declined. Natalie He reporting, Fox 26 News.
In West Houston, a man and woman are stabbed, and the suspected attacker appears to have tried to harm himself as well. HPD found the couple on Richmond Avenue near Beltway. Officers think it all started with an argument at a nearby apartment. And it's like a broken record. A man out on bond now charged with murder. Here is Fox 26's Randy Wallace with Breaking Bond.
Less than 4 months ago, Emound Mosley was paroled from prison. Parole officials told Mosley he has to live at this halfway house at 10,950 Beaumont Highway.
Immediately he violates his conditions of parole. He's supposed to go to a halfway house. That's one of the stipulations of his release. He doesn't show.
In January, just 2 months after being paroled, Mosley is charged with evading arrest.
And this was a serious evading arrest. Dude's going over 100 miles an hour for over 18 miles. He led officers on a chase.
Instead of issuing a blue warrant to keep Mosley behind bars, parole officials allow him to remain on supervision. 339th Criminal District Court Judge Tavia Bell sets the parolee's bond for evading arrest at just $15,000. Mosley walks out of jail.
Umpteenth amount of chances this guy was given in a very short time span.
Once again, Mosley is told by parole to go to this Northeast Side halfway house, but he doesn't. Just 10 days ago, police say Mosley went to this home in Atascocita, shot and killed 45-year-old Gavin Alley, and stole his car. Mosley is now charged with capital murder.
None of this should have ever happened. This 45-year-old man, Gavin Alley, should be alive and doing whatever he would be doing today.
Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
And that wraps up this week's Fox 26 Crime Files. I'm Caroline Collins. Thanks for watching.